Forced out of their condo, they bought a cheap log cottage and found a secret safe. The day the eviction notice arrived, Emma laughed. Not because it was funny. Because sometimes life becomes so ridiculous that laughing is easier than crying. She stood in the kitchen holding the paper while her husband, Ryan, stared at it in disbelief. "We have 30 days?" he asked. Emma nodded. Their condo building had been sold to a development company. Every resident had to leave. Just like that, the place where they had celebrated birthdays, survived hard times, and raised countless dreams was no longer theirs. That night, neither of them slept. Ryan spent hours browsing real estate listings. Every house was too expensive. Every apartment was smaller than what they already had. Every option felt impossible. 3 weeks later, they were sitting in their car outside a rundown log cottage deep in the woods. Ryan looked at the listing again. "Are we seriously considering this?" Emma stared at the cabin. The roof sagged slightly. The paint was peeling. One shutter hung crookedly. It looked like a house that had given up years ago. Yet something about it felt different. Maybe because it was the only property they could actually afford. Maybe because the surrounding forest was beautiful. Or maybe because they were out of choices. The elderly realtor smiled. "Needs work," he admitted. Ryan laughed. That's the understatement of the century. Even Emma couldn't help smiling. Inside, the cottage smelled like old wood and forgotten memories. The floors creaked. The walls were scratched. The fireplace looked ancient. But the structure itself seemed solid. Room by room, they explored. The kitchen was tiny. The bedrooms were cramped. The bathroom looked like it hadn't been updated since dinosaurs walked the earth. Yet Emma kept imagining possibilities. Fresh paint. New furniture. Warm lights. Family dinners. A new beginning. By sunset, they made their decision. 3 days later, the cottage belonged to them. Moving day arrived with rain. Of course it did. Life apparently wanted one final joke. Ryan slipped in the mud carrying a lamp. Emma dropped an entire box of kitchen supplies. Their daughter Lily laughed so hard she nearly fell off the porch. For the first time in weeks, everyone smiled. The cottage slowly started feeling like home. Days turned into weeks. Emma painted walls. Ryan repaired broken shelves. Lily decorated her room. Little by little, the place transformed. Then strange things began happening, small things. Easy things to ignore. A cold draft appeared in the hallway. Odd scratching sounds echoed through the walls at night. One cabinet door kept opening by itself. Ryan blamed old hinges. Emma blamed mice. Lily blamed ghosts. Naturally. One evening during dinner, Lily suddenly asked, "Who lived here before us?" Ryan shrugged. "No idea." Emma remembered the realtor mentioning an elderly owner. A man who had lived alone for decades. Apparently he had no close family. After he passed away, the property was sold. Maybe he left treasure behind, Lily joked. Ryan laughed. "If he did, I'd appreciate some hidden gold." Everyone laughed. But later that night, Emma couldn't stop thinking about it. The previous owner had spent nearly 40 years in this cottage. 40 years. People leave pieces of themselves behind. Memories. Secrets. Stories. The next weekend, while cleaning the attic, Emma found an old photograph. A man stood beside the cottage. He looked proud. Happy. But something caught her attention. Behind him was a section of wall that didn't exist anymore. At least, she didn't think it existed. She carried the photo downstairs. Ryan studied it carefully. "That's weird." "What is?" He pointed toward the background. "Look closely." Emma looked again. Her stomach tightened. There was definitely something there. A narrow wooden door hidden beside the fireplace. A door that neither of them had ever seen. Slowly, they turned toward the living room. toward the massive stone fireplace, toward the exact spot shown in the photograph. And for the first time since buying the cottage, Emma wondered what secrets the previous owner had been hiding. Behind that wall, something was waiting. And neither of them had any idea how much their lives were about to change. Emma and Ryan discover evidence of a hidden door beside the fireplace that doesn't appear to exist anymore. What is concealed behind it? Emma barely slept that night. Every creak of the cottage seemed louder. Every shadow looked suspicious. The photograph sat on the kitchen table, demanding answers. By sunrise, Ryan was already standing beside the fireplace. Coffee in one hand. Flashlight in the other. "You ready?" he asked. Emma nodded. Lily practically bounced with excitement. This is exactly how treasure movies start. Ryan grinned. Treasure movies usually end with someone running from traps. Lily immediately stepped back. Emma laughed. Good thinking. The fireplace stretched nearly from floor to ceiling. Massive stones covered the entire wall. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. But photographs don't lie. Somewhere, a door had existed. Ryan examined every inch of the stonework. Then he noticed something. One section of wood trim looked slightly newer than the rest. Not by much. Just enough to stand out. Emma knelt beside it. A faint gap ran vertically along the wall. Almost invisible. Almost. Ryan pressed against the panel. Nothing happened. He pushed harder. Still nothing. Then Lily pointed upward. What's that? Near the top corner sat a tiny metal hook hidden beneath dust. Ryan grabbed a chair. After climbing up, he pulled the hook. A loud click echoed through the room. Everyone froze. Slowly, the wooden section shifted outward. Emma's heart nearly stopped. A secret door. An actual secret door. The panel swung open with a groan. Cold air drifted from the darkness beyond. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then Lily whispered, "Oh my gosh." A narrow staircase descended behind the wall. Ryan aimed the flashlight downward. The beam disappeared into darkness. Well, he said nervously, that's not creepy at all. Emma rolled her eyes. You watch too many horror movies. Exactly why I know this is a bad idea. Despite his words, he stepped forward first. The staircase creaked under their weight. Dust coated everything. The smell of old wood filled the air. After descending about 15 steps, they entered a hidden room. Silence surrounded them. The space wasn't large. Maybe 10 feet by 12 feet. Shelves lined the walls. An old desk sat in the corner. A lantern rested on top. Everything appeared frozen in time. Emma slowly walked around the room. The previous owner had clearly spent countless hours here. Books covered the shelves. Old maps hung on the walls. Stacks of notebooks sat neatly arranged. Lily opened one. Most pages contained handwritten notes. Dates. Names. Observations. Ryan picked up another notebook. This guy wrote everything down. Emma examined the desk. Inside one drawer, she found dozens of newspaper clippings. Another contained old photographs. Many showed the cottage. Others showed forests, rivers, and nearby towns. Nothing seemed particularly valuable. Yet the room felt important. Intentional. Like it had been created for a specific purpose. Then Ryan's flashlight landed on something against the far wall. Something hidden behind a shelf. A large metal safe. Everyone stared. For a moment, nobody spoke. Finally Lily broke the silence. Okay. That's definitely treasure. Ryan laughed. Or tax documents. Please don't ruin this. Together they moved the shelf aside. The safe stood nearly 4 feet tall. Heavy. Old. Solid steel. A combination lock sat at its center. Emma's pulse quickened. The previous owner had hidden an entire room. then hidden a safe inside that room. Whatever was inside mattered. A lot. Ryan searched for clues. The desk. The notebooks. The shelves. Anything. Hours passed. Nothing. Frustration grew. Then Emma noticed a folded piece of paper tucked beneath the lantern. She unfolded it carefully. Only one sentence was written on the page. Her smile disappeared instantly. "What is it?" Ryan asked. Emma slowly handed him the note. His expression changed too. Lily read over his shoulder. The room suddenly felt colder. The message said, "If you found this safe, do not open it until you know the truth about Eleanor." Silence filled the room. Ryan looked around uneasily. Eleanor? Emma shook her head. She had never heard the name. Neither had Lily. The previous owner had left a hidden warning. A warning connected to someone named Eleanor. And for the first time, the safe no longer felt exciting. It felt dangerous. Then Lily pointed toward the bottom of the note. A second line had been written so faintly they almost missed it. Emma moved the flashlight closer. Her hands began trembling. Because beneath the warning was a date. A date only 3 days away. And beside it were 4 chilling words. She always comes back. A hidden safe is discovered, but a terrifying warning mentions someone named Eleanor and a date only 3 days away. Who was Eleanor, and why did the previous owner fear her return? The drive home from the hidden room was exactly 0 miles. Yet somehow, Emma felt exhausted. The note sat on the kitchen table. Everyone kept staring at it. Nobody liked it. Nobody understood it. And nobody could stop thinking about it. 3 days away. She always comes back. Who was Eleanor? A ghost? An enemy? A relative? Ryan tried to be logical. There has to be an explanation. Lily disagreed. It's obviously haunted. Emma laughed despite herself. Your solution to everything is ghosts. Because ghosts explain everything. For the next 2 days, they searched through every notebook from the hidden room. Hundreds of pages. Thousands of handwritten notes. Most were ordinary. Weather observations. Property repairs. Local history. Daily life. Then, on the second evening, Emma found Eleanor. Or at least the first mention of her. The entry was dated 37 years earlier. Eleanor saved my life today. I owe her everything. Emma called Ryan immediately. Together they continued reading. Entry after entry painted a picture. The previous owner, a man named Walter, had once been deeply in love. Eleanor wasn't a ghost. She wasn't an enemy. She was the woman he planned to marry. The notebooks revealed an incredible story. Walter and Eleanor had grown up together. They dreamed of building a future. Traveling. Starting a family. Growing old in the cottage. Then tragedy struck. A drunk driver caused a terrible accident. Eleanor never made it home. Walter survived. She didn't. Emma felt tears forming. Decades of grief filled those pages. Walter never married. Never left the cottage. Never stopped loving her. The hidden room suddenly made sense. It wasn't a secret chamber. It was a sanctuary. A place where he could remember her. A place where he could keep their story alive. But one mystery remained. The safe. And the strange warning. Late on the third night, Ryan discovered something hidden inside the final notebook. A small card. On it was a 6-digit number. They looked at each other. The safe combination. At exactly midnight, they returned to the hidden room. The atmosphere felt different now. Not frightening, sad, beautiful. Like stepping inside someone's memories. Ryan turned the dial carefully. One number, then another, then another. A loud click echoed through the room. The safe opened. Everyone held their breath. Inside wasn't gold. No stacks of cash. No priceless treasure. Instead, there were dozens of neatly organized folders. Letters, photographs, documents. And one sealed envelope labeled, "For whoever finds this." Emma opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter. Walter explained everything. The warning wasn't meant to scare anyone. Every year on Eleanor's birthday, he would return to the room. He wrote, "She always comes back," because that was how he described his memories. No matter how much time passed, Eleanor always returned to his heart. The date on the note was her birthday. Nothing supernatural, just love. A love that never faded. Emma wiped away tears. Then she reached the final page, and gasped. Ryan leaned closer. "What is it?" Walter had spent 40 years quietly investing. Carefully saving, patiently growing his wealth. He never had children, no surviving relatives, no heirs. The documents inside the safe contained instructions. Everything he owned had been left to the future owners of the cottage, everything. The investment accounts, the savings, the land surrounding the property. The total value exceeded $2 million. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Lily finally broke the silence. "So, we're rich?" Ryan laughed so hard he nearly fell over. Emma laughed too, then cried, then laughed again. Not because of the money. Because a month earlier they had lost everything. Their home, their security, their future. Now they understood something important. The cottage had never been a mistake. It had been a second chance. Walter's final gift wasn't money, it was hope. A reminder that sometimes life's worst endings become the beginning of something extraordinary. As they left the hidden room, Emma glanced back one final time. The lantern, the notebooks, the memories. For a brief moment, she imagined Walter smiling. Knowing his story would continue, knowing Eleanor would never be forgotten, and knowing the little cottage he loved had finally become a home once again. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. What would you do if you discovered a hidden safe inside your home? Let us know in the comments below.